Hey everybody, this is Chuck Marone with Strong Towns. I'm in the office today, and I gotta say, some of you have seen me do public presentations. Some of you have seen me on a web broadcast drinking out of a glass. That glass is a Buc-ee's glass. Buc-ee's is a gas station chain that started out in Texas that has now spread to other parts of the country. And some of you have started to ask me, Chuck, why do you drink out of a Buc-ee's glass? Let's take a walk and talk about why. I'm a fan of Buc-ee's. Now, let me give you the reasons why that would bother some people, or why people think I should not be a fan of Buc-ee's, right? A lot of people will say, well, Chuck, Buc-ee's is like the pinnacle of the suburban experiment. It's taking something that used to be, think of a corner gas station, a mom and pop gas station, a little service shop where they would pump your gas for you. Taking that and kind of beefing it up, right? Now we go from the mom and pop gas station to the chain franchise gas station. Now we go to the big box store or the Costco with gas. Then we work our way up to the obnoxious Buc-ee's. If you've ever been to a Buc-ee's, they are, in a suburban experiment kind of way, absolutely obnoxious, right? You have, what is in a sense like a big box store surrounded by dozens and dozens of gas pumps. If you've ever seen one, if you haven't seen one and you come across it, it is going to feel like a circus atmosphere. It is overwhelming in a way, right? It is kind of the next generation or the next step of obnoxious gas stations. And in that sense, like, I get it. Their financial productivity is horrible. Their, return on the public's investment is terrible. These things are not good economics. If your city is, getting a Buc-ee's, I feel like Buc-ee's is to gas stations what a big box store is to like corner retail, right? It's the thing that says, okay, we're going to capture everybody in a large market, put everybody else out of business, and it's the next step in the business model. I agree that when we look at the math, Buc-ee's not great. Now, let's be realistic here for a second and recognize that Buc-ee's is replacing a bunch of other things that are not great. It's like, you're seeing the suburban experiment start to now, in many ways, not start to, it has been for decades, competing with itself. And so this makes those fragile investments their fragility is realized by having competitors that can out suburban them, right? These kind of one generation buildings, these one life cycle buildings, just being put up like on the next interchange, on the next intersection, on the next frontage road along the highway. They kind of start to become like slash and burn agriculture, right? We cleared out this plot, we got what we could, now we move on to the next one. The old one's kind of left behind to fall apart and wither and decline. The old one was never a good investment anyway. Slash and burn agriculture is not how you get the maximum yield or the maximum return. It's how you do things quickly. Well, you're seeing the returns, right? When you do things quickly, you get low return, you burn up all your soil, now you move on. That's Buc-ee's, they're the next one. So why do I like Buc-ee's? I have this Buc-ee's cup for really two reasons. One, I'm kind of like, I'll say this, there's a part of me that is like punking people, right? Like I like the conversation. I like to have this conversation with people. I started bringing my Buc-ee's cup everywhere when I went to Texas and was speaking. And I did kind of want to send a signal to the public officials and the others that I was talking to that you can't put Strong Towns in a box. If you think I'm coming here as like an urban advocate with a big kind of blue team sticker on my forehead, you don't understand who I am. If you think I'm coming here with a big red team sticker on my forehead, you don't understand who I am. The Buc-ee's cup kind of puts people on edge. It's like, okay, who is this guy? Well, like, he's signaling something to me. I'm not exactly sure that I get the signal. I called Buc-ee's dogs playing pool personified. And I think it's important to recognize, like, I grew up in a place where my grandfather literally had dogs playing poker on the wall by his pool table in his basement. That is a culture that I know and understand and don't necessarily despise, right? There's a place for that kind of quiche. But I think, to me, what you should recognize about Buc-ees is that Buc-ees is more than anything. It is art. It is art and experience. I know there's a lot of you going, what are you talking about? Look, you pull into a Buc-ees and outside there is 14 ice boxes. All, with, you go to the gas station, you can go to the ice box, you open it up, you pick out your ice, and then you go pay for it, right? There's a bunch of ice boxes. Here they have 14. Why do they have 14? If they're selling that much ice, it would be better to just have one. It'd be more efficient to just have one cooler. They have 14 because it is an art display, right? These are Buc-ees. It's an art display. When you go into Buc-ees, they're known for having clean bathrooms. They are, like, immaculately clean. The experience inside Buc-ees is unlike the experience in your typical gas station. What they are doing, very much like Disney does with a park, is they actually care about the experience of humans in their place. Now, their place is a terrible investment. Yes, for the community, right? I get it. They make a lot of money, the community does not. Yes, it is low value per acre, low financial productivity. Yes, it perpetuates driving. I'm going to argue that, Buc-ee is not encouraging people to drive, maybe marginally drive more to get to Buc-ees. Maybe you could make that argument, but it's not like Buc-ees created driving culture. Buc-ees is the byproduct of driving culture. But the one thing you should get from Buc-ees is that if you actually care about people and their experience in your place, they will respond to that in a big way. This is exactly what our cities should be doing. Now, our cities should not be building massive parking lots, putting in huge gas pumps, and having 14 different coolers with the city logo on the outside. I'm not suggesting that in any way, but I am suggesting that if you actually give a damn about the people who visit your place, who live in your place, who walk your streets, who walk your sidewalks, who participate in your community, if you actually focus on their experience, not their experience mediated behind a wheel, but their experience standing, walking, being in that place, they will respond. They'll respond by coming more. They'll respond by spending more. They'll respond by making your properties more valuable. They'll respond by higher return on investment. These things are not hard. They're not hard. They're not difficult. They don't require usually a lot of money. They require just focused attention. And what you get at a place like Buc-ees is you actually get focused attention on the human experience. Look at the irony of that. In a place dominated by automobiles, in a place designed to service people in their automobiles, you have people running it who actually have the highest degree of attention to place. If your city, if you don't like Buc-ees and you're like, I'm offended by the whole concept, the whole idea, okay, fine, but go experience one and recognize that when you walk in, you're gonna have a jerky bar, a fudge bar, long line of pop machines, everything's gonna be clean, immaculate, the bathrooms are clean. They actually care about the experience you're having. If our communities gave a fraction of that much about the experience that you have living on a street, living in a place, getting around, our cities would explode in wealth and prosperity.